Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Friday, the 24th of July. My disclaimer, I did this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and I'm not here to shoot trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.subset.com. It's published on YouTube after the delay of 24 hours. All right, I wrote a post yesterday morning, and unfortunately, what happened after that was what I predicted, but happened more or less immediately after I published it, which was slightly annoying because obviously most people hadn't read it by then. But hey, we saw a decline here. We went back below the daily middle band, so all four indices are now back below the daily middle bands again. What are we looking at here in terms of targets? Well, on ES, we've got a double top which broke down with a target in 74.30 area, and obviously we made that target. No current positive divergence. In terms of NQ, still got a possible bull flag. Well, not a bull flag, but a falling wedge. Didn't quite reach a retest of this low here yesterday, and didn't retest this low here yesterday either. But don't really have a double bottom here. I'm leaning towards this downside not being quite done, although I do have a caveat to that I'll be going through on the RTH charts. In terms of RTY, we didn't make the little double top target, but we've now also got a head and shoulders which is broken down with a target in the 28-23 area. On YM, we made a bit more progress towards this head and shoulder target. I do have a potential alternate head and shoulders which could be forming here. If so, we'd be looking at a right shoulder which would have an ideal high in about the 52,750 area. In terms of DAX, nothing particularly concrete. Could be an IHS forming, but the right shoulder's a bit deep. ESTX, possible overall head and shoulders forming, but hasn't broken down yet. Nikkei, still got a potential bull flag here. If so, the next obvious target would be the flag resistance currently in about the 67,750 area. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts, and let's have a look at the daily middle bands first, where ES broke back below the daily middle band. So we've got a rejection here. This would often follow through to the downside, not necessarily on a Friday. So we have an RSI 14 sell signal fix, as we have fixed on all of these. I am wondering if this might be making target shortly. We will see how that goes. But I've got mixed feelings about this particular short-term low. We will see how that goes. Could this be forming a larger triangle? Yes, but the main thing to say is that we're still in an area here where this could be basically a bullish consolidation, and that is worth remembering. In terms of SPX, we actually reached the daily lower band yesterday, so obviously that was a pretty clear rejection below the daily upper band. So waiting to see if that's going to follow through to the downside. Obviously, as with all of these, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed on the daily. One thing I wanted to mention on SPX is that I've drawn in this possible, what would basically be a bullish triangle. And, well, I couldn't help noticing where the below was yesterday. So we will see. That could hold, but if this is a triangle, and if that continues to hold, then the next obvious moves within this triangle would be A, B, C. We'd have a D up into the 75, 70 area. Then we'd have a partial pullback, and then we would see an all-time high retest. We do have unfinished business above at a possible all-time high retest, so I'm wondering about that. Nothing really to see on the 15-minute chart apart from a little head and shoulders has broken down with a target. Well, basically at a retest of this low here at 72.94. We might see that follow through on Monday. Certainly, the war news isn't getting any better. The US sent, I can't remember, I think it might have been Iraq. Yeah, they sent Iraq to with a ceasefire proposal to Iran yesterday, which was rejected. All right, Qs. We've got a bit more downside here. It doesn't really look like a double bottom. Not seeing anything in terms of a pattern particularly. On the hourly chart, we're still holding the support in about the 685, 686 area. Could this still be a bullish consolidation? Yes. In terms of the 15-minute chart, we'll see. All right, Dyer, closed slightly below, well, closed basically on the daily lower band. Qs, we closed basically on the daily lower band as well. On the hourly chart, nothing to see really. Obviously, we've seen a significant break below this rising wedge. We've got this head and shoulders, which is broken down with a target in the 510 area, and we could be forming a large head and shoulders on the right shoulder here. It doesn't look quite as good here as it does on YM though. Looking at stocks, we saw a weekday yesterday, and that was one of the reasons we saw a weekday everywhere. We've been seeing a bit of a rally on stocks this week. The question is, has that ended? Nothing really to say it has on the hourly chart, but nothing really to say it hasn't either. In terms of Ethereum, in terms of IWM, bear with me a moment. Let's have a look at IWM, which basically closed on the daily lower band as well. Nothing to see on the hourly chart. On the 15-minute chart, obviously the head and shoulders here has broken down. I haven't marked it up yet, but this is broken down with a target, obviously with I think with a target in about the 281 area or a bit lower. So I'll mark that up over the weekend, but that is in the mix now too. In terms of DAX, obviously weekday yesterday, Nikkei actually didn't have a weekday yesterday particularly. We could still be in a bull flag here, or we could still be forming a head and shoulders on Nikkei. We shall see. Watching to see whether we get back into the daily band area at 68,240 and what happens there if we do. All right, great. Let's have a look at DX, which is breaking up here and got a bit closer to the flag target, which is a retest of this high here in about the 101.57 area, I think. We've got some support from the others. Nice bull bear flag breakdown on EUR/USD. Not quite sure what's happening here on GBP USD. USD JPY heading higher at the moment. USD CAD having some movement to the upside, but overall I don't really see an obvious pattern here at the moment. Australian dollar hasn't broken down from the bear flag yet, and hasn't broken down from this possible little level top or head and shoulders forming here. NZUSD had very little level top breakdown, made target testing the monthly pivot, which is holding so far. If this can get below about the 57.35 area, then that will break this inverted head and shoulders, and that will set up a target at the lows. All right, let's have a look at ZB, which is continuing down pretty close to the May low and has already tested the May low on ZM. Looking at CL, on coil, Brent, biggest retracement we have seen in, well, $15 basically. So I think this is just a reset. I'm expecting to see more upside, but I am watching it carefully to see what impact this is going to be and how much of this holds into the end of the day. And I'll talk more about that on the RTH charts. CL, nice little pullback too, maybe a bull flag forming. HO, nice little pullback. We've now cleared all the 60-minute sell signals here on oil. The one on Brent failed yesterday, the one on CL failed yesterday, and the one on RBOB made the possible near miss target overnight. So we've now cleared all those out. HO had already reached possible near miss target. NG is breaking up from this double bottom broken up with a target in 3.052 to 3.062 range. I'm not currently seeing any reason to think that won't make target. All right, let's have a look at these on the bigger picture charts. And straightforward moves returning to normal by August 31, currently at 11%, so not particularly high. In terms of the Brent daily chart, the weak RSI 14 buy signal has made target, and we are pulling back a bit on the RSI 5. I'm interested to see how far this gets back and whether this actually moves the needle today, which really depends on whether this decline on oil actually lasts into the end of the day. This could set up our first possibility of getting divergence on the RSI 5, so I'm watching with great interest. On Brent, the 60-minute sell signal failed, and I had a channel resistance here and it broke up, so that is not a channel. Watching it with interest and watching to see whether it comes back into this trend line support, which I've currently got in about the 93.5 area. Looking at WTIC, we've got the buy signal on the RSI 14 made target. Again, watching a pullback here on the on the daily RSI 5. Again, the sell signal, the 60-minute sell signal failed yesterday, and I'm watching to see whether we get a test of this rising support here, which I've currently got in about the 86.5 area. This is of particular interest because this original trend line I'd drawn here, after we adjusted this lower one after we went a little lower, and then I drew in a possible channel resistance trend line. As you can see, we hit it. So I'm watching with particular interest to see whether we see a flag and whether it respects this channel support. So we shall see. All right, great. Not really an awful lot to see on the others. We'll see how that goes. On GC, we've got a 6-minute buy signal fixed after this sell signal made target. We're holding the weekly pivot so far. So I'm wondering about a bit of a rally here. SI, no buy signal, but holding the weekly pivot as well. Palladium, still wondering about a possible low retest. Platinum, still wondering about a possible low retest. HG, wondering if this is a bear flag. We don't, the double top is broken down with a target in the 5.66 area. These don't fail conveniently like head and shoulder patterns, so it's still unclear what's happening there. KC looks like a bullish consolidation. SB, might be a bullish consolidation as well. We've got a double top which is broken down with a target in the 1398 to 1413 area. Not much sign of that making target at the moment. Testing monthly pivot as support. On CC, 60-minute sell signal reached possible near miss target. Still torn between head and shoulders going down and bull flag going up. No decision made yet. Lumber has gone a little higher. We've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed on CT. CT, we've been rallying a bit, but I've got, because this IHS failed, I've got an open target down and a retest of this low, and I'm watching to see whether it's going to get that. ZW pulling back a bit. 60-minute sell signal is making target at the moment. Corn pulling back a bit. 60-minute sell signal is reaching the possible near miss target. Soy pulling back a bit. We didn't have any divergence here. ZL, or at least not signal worthy. ZL is pulling back a bit. Still got an open target here and a retest of this high in the 74.7 area. Live cattle, still got a weak 6-minute buy signal fixed, still not delivering anything. HE still got a sell signal fixed and still not delivering anything. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions, of which we have none. In which case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care. I'll catch you again on Monday and have a wonderful weekend. All right, cheers.